At my brother's engagement party, my parents banished me to the gift table to avoid embarrassing the family, so I immediately canceled a $7.2 million deal that night. Hey everyone! Before we kick off today's video, I've got a favor to ask. We've noticed our channel isn't getting as much love lately, and subscribing is one of the easiest ways you can help us out. It's quick, free, and it means we can keep bringing you awesome content. Your support really means a lot, so let's work together to keep this channel growing. Thanks a bunch. Now, let's dive into the video. Hey everyone. I'm Julian Evans, 34 years old, and the CEO of Vector Forge, a fast-growing supply chain tech company based in Boston. I live with my amazing wife, Mila, who's a super talented surgeon, and our energetic 6-year-old, Brian. Mila's always got my back with her warm smiles and incredible determination, while Brian's a smarty pants with his big blue eyes, constantly asking how computers work as he zooms around the house. From the outside, our family probably looks like the perfect picture. But inside, there's this old wound that never really healed, you know? It hits me hard when I see families reuniting because I used to have that, a mom, a dad, and a younger brother. But about 3 months ago, I cut ties with them during my brother's engagement party. Let me fill you in on what went down. Picture this: 4 months ago, I'm chilling at home in the Boston suburbs, watching the Patriots take on the Chiefs. Suddenly, my phone buzzes. It's Aiden, my brother. After hesitating a bit, I pick up, and he's all excited, inviting me to his engagement party the following month. Instantly, I get chills. Trying to keep my cool, I ask for the details. He's hyped and tells me it's on the 15th next month at the Ocean View Resort. I agree to figure it out and say goodbye, but deep down, I'm not thrilled. Family gatherings aren't my thing since I always feel out of place there. Later that night, after Brian's gone to bed, I spill the beans to Mila. She listens, hands me a glass of wine, and says, "You should go. Aiden's your brother. If you skip it, they'll just talk more smack." Her words hit home, and in a shaky voice, I tell her, "I'll think about it." She gives my hand a squeeze and whispers softly, "Sometimes, we've got to face the past to really move on." Fast forward to the big day. I'm slick in a Tom Ford suit, Mila looks gorgeous in her turquoise Vera Wang dress, and Brian's picked out a cute little gray suit. I kneel down and ask Brian, "Hey, remember your grandparents and Uncle Aiden?" He looks serious, shakes his head, and goes, "Aren't they the ones who never came to my birthdays?" Ouch. That stings. But I try to stay calm and reassure him, "Yeah, but we'll see them today. They're family too." Arriving late to the party, all eyes are on us. I catch bits and pieces from the crowd. Is that Julian Evans? He hasn't been around for years. Brian senses my tension and grips my hand tight. I bend down, assure him, "It's okay, buddy. Dad's got you," and he seems to relax a bit. We make our way to where my parents are standing. My dad, Nolan, looks older, and my mom, Kinsley, is as elegant and cold as ever. When my dad spots me, there's no hint of happiness on his face. My mom doesn't even make eye contact. I approach them with Mila and Brian, muster a smile, and greet them, "Hey, Dad, Mom, it's been a while." The response? Barely a nod from Dad and a forced smile from Mom directed at Mila and Brian. Talk about awkward. Then Aiden shows up, beaming in his sharp tux, and gives me a big hug. "Julian, you made it. So awesome to see you," he says with genuine excitement. After congratulating him, a tall man, probably in his 60s, walks over. Aiden introduces him as Thomas Whitmore, his fiancée Amelia's dad and the chairman of Whitmore Group. Thomas sizes me up with a smirk and loud enough for everyone to hear says, "So you're the brother who's a disappointment? I thought you'd be too scared to show up." Oof, that's a cold splash of water in the face. But then it hits me. Whitmore Group is the company we're about to close a $7.2 million deal with. Staying calm, I say, "Nice to meet you, Thomas. I've heard a lot about Whitmore Group." He doesn't like my composed reaction and fires back, "Oh, is that so? What do you know about my company?" And that's where things start to unfold. The room fell quiet, and I could almost taste the tension in the air. Just then, Mila placed her hand on my back, a silent sign that she had my back. I realized right then that this party was not going to be the fun night I had in mind. Let me tell you a bit about my company, Vector Forge. I started this business and we're killing it in supply chain management software. We've got super advanced automation, demand forecasting, thanks to our AI, and blockchain integration for transparency. Big companies love it, and we even caught the eye of Whitmore Group 6 months ago. Their COO, Ella Laner Wright, teamed up with my tech crew, and after 3 intense evaluation rounds, we landed a $7.2 million contract. This is huge for us at Vector Forge, helping us tap into new markets and boost our stock value. Here's the twist: no one at Whitmore knew I'm connected to their family. They only knew me as Julian Evans, CEO, not as Aiden's older brother. So there I was at this party, standing face to face with Thomas Whitmore, who just had the nerve to call me a failure. He was about to sign a multi-million-dollar contract with me and had no clue who I really was. I could have spilled the beans right there, but I was too curious to see how this charade would play out. It was a chance to find out how my family saw me when I wasn't around. Keeping cool, I told Thomas I worked in supply chain management software. At that, he waved me off, saying, "Everyone knows Whitmore Group. We're the top distribution company in the Northeast. We're about to sign a big deal with some tech startup." I felt anger bubbling inside. He was dissing my company, the one I built from the ground up with over 100 employees and worth $50 million. After the awkward run-in with my folks and Thomas, we made our way to the reception desk to check our seating. A young woman in a resort uniform was engrossed in her computer. I politely introduced us as the Evans family: Julian, Mila, and Brian. She looked puzzled, scrolling through her list, then frowned and said we weren't on the main guest list. It felt like a second bucket of cold water thrown in my face. I asked her to check again, mentioning I was the groom's older brother. She spotted us on the supplementary list, meaning we were sitting way in the back, near the gift table. Mila squeezed my hand, silently telling me to stay cool. Our son, Brian, with his innocent eyes, wondered why we were sitting so far away. I forced a smile and told him maybe there wasn't enough space in the main area. We were led to a lonely corner, our seats isolated from everyone else, no decorations, no place cards, just us by the wedding gifts. I knew then it wasn't a mistake. It was deliberate, courtesy of my own family. I whispered to Mila that I'd be right back and went to find a manager at the reception desk. Just as I was about to talk, my parents and Thomas approached. My dad, Nolan, glared at me and growled, asking why I was causing trouble at my brother's wedding. I calmly asked why we were stuck by the gift table, separated from the main group. My dad warned me not to embarrass them, which hit me hard. He was flat out ashamed of me. My mom, Kinsley, added her icy words, telling me to sit quietly and act like I wasn't even there. Thomas chimed in with a smug smile, basically saying this party was for important people, not for someone like me. I walked away, hurt and mad, back to Mila and Brian. Mila was trying to explain to our little boy why we were seated apart. She saw me, asked what happened, and as I told her, her worry turned to anger. She finally said, "We should just leave. Brian doesn't need to see this." Her support meant everything to me, but instead of agreeing to, I shook my head and said, "Nah, I've got a different idea." Mila gave me this look, all curious and stuff, but I wasn't spilling the beans just yet. I was done with me and my family being treated like outsiders. So, I grabbed my phone, hands a bit shaky, and tapped on the contact for Michael Reed. He's the COO of Vector Forge, the dude who's been my partner in crime since we started this company. I locked eyes with Ma, all determined, and said, "I'm not gonna let them treat us like we're nothing anymore." After a couple of rings, Michael picked up, sounding like his usual self. "Julian, what's up?" he asked. I stayed cool but firm and told him, "Get the paperwork ready to cancel the Whitmore contract. I'm not dealing with folks who treat me like I'm just there to hand out gifts." I could practically hear Michael's breath catch on the other end. In a bit of a panic, he said, "Julian, what's going on? We're almost finished with everything. This deal's worth $7.2 million. I cut him off and said, "I'm at my little brother's engagement party at Ocean View Resort. Amelia's dad, Thomas Whitmore, decided to stick us next to the gift table like we're just hired help." Michael went silent, probably in shock. Eventually, he chimed in, "Wow, Julian, I had no idea. But can't we keep business and personal stuff separate?" I was firm, "No, Michael. I can't work with people who look down on me or anyone else." Thomas Whitmore called our company some up-and-coming tech startup, but Vector Forge has other doors to open. I told Michael to notify Whitmore and get that contract cancellation in motion. When the call ended, I felt this huge weight lift off my shoulders. No more proving myself. No more begging for respect. I smiled at Ma and Brian and said, "Let's spruce up a bit. We're gonna strut over to the center of the party." Mila looked kinda worried and asked, "What are you planning on doing?" I just said, "Not a thing. Just showing up as Julian Evans." I stood up, fixed my tie, and buttoned my suit jacket. Mila adjusted her dress, still trying to wrap her head around it. Brian, sensing the vibe, straightened his shirt. I knew this was a game changer for tonight and for the Evans family's future. A minute later, Mila and I, with Brian between us, headed toward the party's main area. We walked with the kind of confidence that said we knew our worth. As soon as we moved, people started turning their heads to watch us. With steady steps, we made our way to where Aiden and Amelia were chatting with guests. Aiden spotted us first, looking confused about why we weren't chilling in our designated seats. Then Thomas Whitmore noticed and looked ticked off. He stormed over, trying to block us, and said in a low, angry voice, "I thought you were at your seats already. What are you doing here?" Without missing a beat, I replied, "Yeah, you stuck us in the corner next to the gifts like we're just service staff. But as the groom's brother, I think I deserve a better spot." Thomas's face went red with anger. He practically spat out, "If you don't get back to your seat, I'll call security." With a slight grin, I said, "Go for it. I'd love to see how security reacts when you throw the groom's brother out of his own party. The papers would have a field day with that." Thomas clenched his jaw, knowing I had a point. Aiden and Amelia came over, confused. Aiden asked, "Julian, what's happening? Why aren't you at your seat?" I asked him straight up, "Do you know where they put me and my family?" He went quiet, and his face changed colors. I didn't handle the seating," he stammered, and I knew he was fibbing. He knew and didn't do squat. Soon, a bunch of important-looking guests gathered around us, drawn to the drama. A middle-aged guy in a slick Armani suit said, "Thomas, is there a problem?" Thomas, trying to play it cool, replied, "Nah, just a little misunderstanding." But the guy, who was clearly someone significant, recognized me. "Are you Julian Evans, CEO of Vector Forge?" he asked. Thomas froze, his eyes wide. "CEO of Vector Forge?" he stammered. With a smile, I said, "Yup, that's me, Julian Evans, CEO, and founder of Vector Forge." Thomas looked like someone had dropped a bomb on him. The same CEO he had just insulted was about to sign a $7.2 million contract with his company. Trying to save face, he mocked, "CEO of Vector Forge? A guy whose own family thinks he's a flop?" I felt Ma squeeze my hand, keeping me steady. Thomas kept on, asking if I was pretending to be someone I'm not. The atmosphere was tense. Eyes were glued to me, waiting for my next move. Calmly, I told him, "You can call Eleanor Wright from your company. She'll confirm I'm the real deal. And, by the way, consider the $7.2 million contract history." Thomas quickly called Eleanor and got confirmation. His face turned pale. Trembling, he said, "I hope you won't let personal stuff mess with our business partnership. We really value Vector Forge and your..." So, there I was, at this big fancy party, and Thomas drops a line about technology. Suddenly, I could totally see his vibe went from looking down on me to trying to butter me up in a heartbeat. But instead of feeling smug about it, I just felt kind of sad. I mean, I didn't want people to respect me just because of a title or job position. I wanted them to see me, Julian, Aiden's brother, as a person. While Thomas was fumbling to fix things, Amelia, the bride-to-be, stepped in, looking all confused. She glanced from Thomas to me, then tossed a questioning look at Aiden. "What's going on here? Why is everyone so tense?" she asked, her voice shaking. I told her, "Amelia, you asked me to sit far off, and that's cool. But you know they parked me right next to the gift table?" Amelia froze, clearly not expecting that. "The gift table? No way. I just meant a separate table so you could have some space with your family," she responded, eyes wide. Turns out, the seating drama wasn't Amelia's doing. She quickly got a staff member to fetch the seating coordinator, who embarrassingly explained that it was Thomas, along with my parents, who orchestrated this seating plan. Amelia immediately confronted her dad. "Dad, why would you do that? I never asked for it," she said, visibly upset. Thomas, looking cornered, mumbled something about the party being important and family image and all that jazz. Amelia turned to me, apologizing with genuine regret on her face. "Julian, I'm really sorry. I had no idea." I smiled at her and said, "It's okay, Amelia. It's not you who needs to apologize." Then my parents, Nolan and Kinsley, came over, clearly sensing the tension. Nolan asked, "What's going on here?" Before I could say a word, Amelia confronted them. "Uncle Nolan, Aunt Kinsley, why did you do this? Julian is your son." They were caught off guard, but Kinsley, trying to maintain some dignity, said, "We were doing what's best for the party. Julian doesn't fit the vibe here." Hearing that hit hard. Even after all these years and successes, I still didn't measure up in their eyes. Aiden finally spoke up, apologizing, with a mix of guilt and shame. I asked him if he knew about the seating arrangement, and he admitted, "Yeah, I knew. But I didn't think they'd go that far. I thought you'd just be at a separate table." It wasn't even about sitting at the gift table, it was the betrayal from my little brother that stung. "Why didn't you stop them?" I asked. Aiden admitted he was too scared to disappoint our parents. "Silence is a form of betrayal," I told him. "I don't blame you anymore, but I can't trust you." Thomas, still trying to salvage his deal with me, attempted to discuss business, but I cut him off. "We'll talk later, Thomas. You know where I stand." With all the drama out in the open, it was time to leave. I told Mila, "Let's go home." She nodded, understanding, and we left the party behind, not looking back. As we passed Thomas, he tried to bring up the contract again. I just told him I'd contact Eleanor tomorrow. My parents stood there, angry and silent, knowing any more words would only dig a deeper hole. Aiden asked if I'd come to his wedding, and I honestly told him, "I don't know, Aiden. Don't hope for too much." As we walked to the car, Mila squeezed my hand and said she was proud. I agreed, no one sets the price for our self-respect but us. The next morning, I was up early, making coffee and enjoying a quiet moment. Around 6:30, my phone rang. It was Eleanor from Whitmore Group, sounding urgent. "So, this guy's been blowing up my phone since the crack of dawn, freaking out over the contract. Apparently, something went down at the engagement party last night. After he chilled out a bit, I filled Eleanor in on everything that happened. When I wrapped up the story, she was dead silent on the other end for a while. Then, with a soft voice, she finally said, 'I don't know what to say, Julian. I'm really sorry about what went down.' I quickly responded, 'It's not your fault, Eleanor, but my decision's firm. Vector Forge is not teaming up with Whitmore Group.' There was a brief pause, and then Eleanor let out a gentle sigh. Once the call was done, I set my phone aside and went back to savoring my coffee. Fast forward 2 weeks after the Ocean View Resort drama, I get a text from Aiden asking if we could meet up. After some thought, I agreed to catch up with him at this cozy little coffee spot in downtown Boston. When I got there, Aiden was already camped out with 2 cups of coffee. The moment he saw me, he stood up, and man, you could see the worry and nerves all over his face. Once I settled across from him, I cut to the chase. "What do you want to talk about?" He stared into his coffee, seemingly hunting for the right words. Finally, he looked up, his voice shaky, and asked, "How did you put up with being looked down on by Mom and Dad all these years?" That question caught me off guard. It wasn't what I anticipated at all. I took a sip of my coffee, pondering my response, and then calmly said, "I don't put up with it anymore, Aiden. I let it go a while back." As I finished speaking, Aiden confessed quietly, "I'm kind of in the same boat now, Julian. Ever since what happened at Ocean View, Mom and Dad have been different, more demanding and controlling, from the wedding to my job, even where we're supposed to live." Hearing that, I felt a pang of sympathy for him. Aiden, the golden child, was now facing what I'd dealt with for years. Looking at him earnestly, I said, "You made your choices, Aiden. You stayed silent when they treated me poorly. Now, it's up to you to confront them." Aiden hung his head, regret all over his face, and barely audible, he admitted, "I know, and I'm sorry, Julian. I'm truly sorry for not standing by you." Meeting his gaze calmly, I said, "I don't blame you anymore." A few seconds later, with a shaky voice, he asked, "So, will you come to my wedding?" I took a moment, sighed, and replied, "I'm not sure, Aiden." Right then, he pulled out an envelope from his pocket, placed it on the table, and said, "Here's a new invite. Amelia and I decided on a smaller, more meaningful wedding, no Thomas, no Whitmore folks, and no Mom and Dad either." Surprised, I looked at him, and before I could ask, Aiden explained, "Amelia and I have thought a lot. We want to kick off our new life with people who truly respect our love and choices. I really hope you'll come, Julian." Seeing this change in him, not from pressure but understanding the essence of freedom and self-respect, I held the invitation and told him, "I'll think about it." About half an hour later, as we parted ways outside the coffee shop, a flicker of hope sparked in me for our relationship. It felt like a fresh start in our brotherhood, built on mutual respect and understanding rather than unrealistic expectations and pressure. A month later, we were gearing up to attend Aiden's wedding again. Driving to the Ocean View Resort, I worried it might be a setup from Aiden and my parents to reel me back and continue their old ways. But surprisingly, Aiden stuck to his word. He greeted us with a genuine smile and hug at the entrance. Our seats that day were right in the center of the banquet hall, with a placard saying Julian Evans family. Seeing that, an indescribable feeling washed over me. It was more than just a seat, it was recognition and an apology, marking the start of healing. Just as he promised, there was no sign of Thomas or anyone from the Whitmore group. The ceremony was intimate, with only those who really mattered to the couple. That day, we captured loads of warm memories, Aiden and I sharing laughs, Mila and Amelia chatting away, and Brian playing with the other kids. Moments I thought could never be. Watching Aiden and Amelia have their first dance, their happiness was clear, and I felt a sense of joy too. They chose love and respect over expectations and pressure. I realized then that healing can be a long and intricate journey, but it's possible. Sometimes, small steps, like a simple name placard, can lead to big changes. So, there you have it. Before I wrap up, I'm curious, what do you think about me standing up at Aiden's engagement party to protect my self-respect and my family? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like, and share this story. Your support keeps us going. Catch you in the next story.